Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Tamika Hall. You are tuned into the Tamika Hall radio show, and this is the Tamika Hall live experience. Yo, I'm so hyped about my artist feature for today. We got Emorja. First of all, you got to be able to say his name correctly, right? Like it's very say it. Emorja Roberson that is hanging out with me in the virtual studio. We're going to be talking music. We're going to be talking ministry. And y'all, let me tell you, the brother is smart. So I love when we can talk about intelligence as well. So with that being said, welcome to the Tamika Hall Show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be able to chat with you. You know, we all became acquainted with you and your talent on BET's Sunday Best, last year. And, oftentimes we see you guys on the show, but we don't really get to know who you are behind the music, and we don't get to know all those things. So you are very accomplished. I
appreciate it.
You already know, though. I mean, you're a pianist, you're a composer. I mean, you're a songwriter. You do more than just sing. So where did your love for music start?
All right, so we can go back to when I was raised in Defuniak Springs, Florida. Very small town. Most people, it probably has like 3 stoplights at this point.
Stop.
I'm so serious.
Where I'm from, they still don't even have lights on that street. So like, you just go outside and you just hope that you don't get bitten by a possum or ran over by a deer. So
it's just a chance. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Honestly, I grew up there. We moved from Fort Lauderdale in 1992. So moved there, and my mother, we were always going to church. My grandmother, they grew up in the church, of course, singing. And I remember I started playing piano in 2001. I taught myself to play in 2001 only because I was attending a predominantly white church at the time. And the pastor's wife, she had moved to Ohio. And I said, you know what? I told one of my youth directors, I said, I want to learn how to play piano for the church. And I remember she distinctly said, not right now, Momo, which Momo was my nickname. And so when she said that, I was a little discouraged, but I didn't let that stop me. So what I ended up doing was going back to the church where my mother and grandmother attended, which was Temple Missionary Baptist Church, which is around the corner from the house. And my pastor there, who was also very well accomplished in regards to knowing how to read music, his brother used to also do some stuff with Richard Smallwood as well, too. So he always told me, he said, Emorja, you need to learn how to read music. And of course, I didn't really think, because me growing up a lot of black churches, they didn't really have musicians who knew how to read music. It was all based upon learning to play by ear. Mm-hmm. So I sort of let that trait go by the wayside, but then I started to see the necessity for this practice. And like I said, 2001, I started teaching myself how to play. I read books. I listened.
Wow.
One of the first songs that I played out of the book was Jesus on the Main Line. So I remember playing that. And so honestly, after that, then in middle school, I began, I had 2 youth choirs. One was called the Finalist Springs Youth Mass Choir. Then I had one called Voices of Praise. So I did that for a few years just to get some things under my belt. I did that until I graduated in 2009. And I kept them going for quite a while. And so from there, I started to, I was getting some things ready for college. And I was a part of the Grady Rayam Negro Scholarship Foundation. It's like a competition for young African-Americans who know how to read music. I remember I did the competition in 2009, right before I graduated. My guidance counselor, she gave me the pamphlet and she said, Emorja, I want you to give it a shot. So I did. And I took the chance and I ended up getting first runner-up for the regional portion of it. And so after that, what was so interesting is that there was somebody by the name of Professor Christoph Bernacki, who worked at the University of North Florida. He came to my mother and I with my now godfather, who was also the director of the program. And he, long story short, he said, I want to offer your son a full scholarship at our school. Now, that was not part of the competition. That was something he heard, and he said he wanted to take a chance, and he wanted to offer that to me. So, of course, we didn't take so long to really get back with an answer. The answer was yes, because to go to school for free, not to pay for anything, like that's a blessing by itself. And it came whenever you weren't even expecting it. So just sort of wrap things up. So I went to school there in 2009, got my bachelor from University of North Florida. Took a year and about a year off. I recorded my first album with Rejuvenation Gospel Choir, and then I moved to South Bend, Indiana, which is where I am now.
Dope. And okay, so you attend the University of Notre Dame. Yes?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
you actually received a master's degree in sacred music.
Yeah. Yes. And then
And you're
now I'm
the
working on my
first
doctorate.
African American to do that. So
Yes.
you've taught yourself how to read music. Like, who even does that anymore? I mean, you taught yourself how to do, and to read it, it's like, come on. I
Yeah.
was excited when, I started taking piano lessons when I was 8 years old, and then stopped for a lot of years. And I was excited when I just learned how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star a couple years ago.
I feel
So
you,
to
yeah.
sit down, to sit down and read music and to teach myself that's pretty incredible, right? Okay. And
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
so not only are
Listen.
you doing those things, but now you're making history. Come on,
Yeah.
University of Notre Dame is
Yeah.
just, first of all, it's a prestigious school all by itself, but then you're making history.
Yeah.
So talk to us about the journey to, earning a master's degree there.
Oh, okay. So it's funny how it happened when I was at UNF. I told myself I was going to get another degree regardless. I was not going to stop. But I remember one day I made a petition to God. I said, you allowed me to get my first degree with no financial strain. I said that every degree that I receive after this will be free. So I remember I used to work at Girl Scouts, and so I was doing some stuff over there, and I was, applying for different programs, and I randomly came across University of Illinois, and I came across University of Notre Dame. They had something coming up as well. I said, okay, cool. So I applied, and then I got into, I'm sorry, there were three schools. I got into all three schools, but only one of them was fully funded, and that was Notre Dame. So I said, okay. I said, all right, God, so I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to go. It was heartbreaking because, of course, I had this choir established. We just recorded our first album. And then, I have this full fellowship here waiting for me. As the first Black, in this program. While I know there are not many people who look like me on the campus, it gives me the opportunity to make history. But also, that was the prayer that God answered. So what he was really preparing me for was sacrifice and focus. And those were the two things that were really necessary being here. So I got here, I received my master's in 2017. And then as I was applying for my doctorate, I got into Wisconsin. Like they weren't paying for everything, but I said, you know what, I'm going to go because I didn't want to take too much time off and get lazy. So before I made my final decision, our program director, Dr. Margot Fassler, she said, well, Emorja, she said, I remember whenever you first came here, you said that you love singing and you also love choirs. I said, yes, that is very true. She said, well, here's what I want to do. I want to create a position for you to stay here in the department. And everything will be paid for. She said, but you're going to help build our Black, our program so that way we can include the Black ecumenical, the Black experience for the church, which is so interesting because she said, you can't have an ecumenical music department without having the Black experience. And I said, absolutely. So true. So that was my other prayer. So as I was on the verge to going back on the prayer that I prayed to God, just because I didn't want to take time off for school, he created something just for me to stay here. That's how I knew it was meant for me to be here.
My God. Yeah. That's some good stuff. First of all, we got a lot of good nuggets from that. The first one is I learned how to actually pronounce the name because I've always said Notre Dame because I felt like it sounded more posh to say it.
No, you're right. Because of course in Paris, that's what they will call it. But I mean, here in the United States, it's called Notre Dame. So you're fine.
No. We're going to be from Paris today, honey. And it's going to be Notre Dame. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Notre Dame then.
Good.
But no, just so many great nuggets that you just dropped there. You talked about being focused and different things like that, but also obedience. Because oftentimes we will build something and we think that's the be all end all. And when God tells you to go, you gotta go, And so that is amazing. Congratulations on that. Okay, let's fast forward. Let's go to BET Sunday Best.
Okay.
What made you decide to, first of all, let me just tell you this, literally 1,000 years ago, because I'm about to be 40, but 1,000 years ago, I auditioned for Sunday Best, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't even remember what year it was. It was the year that they held auditions in DC at the BET studios, and there was like 3,000 people that were there. It was freezing. Yeah. I chose to be out there in like 10-degree weather with like 5-inch boots on. And you don't sit down. Like we didn't get to sit down, I don't think at all that day. It was pretty miserable. I'm excited to say I did get a call back, but I never made it to the finals. And after that, I was like, yo, I'm good. I don't need to ever do that again. because standing outside, people singing and stuff, I didn't want to sing. I'm like, girl, shut up. It's cold out here.
Like, save your voice.
Yeah, just shut up, and then, Kirk Franklin walked in the middle of the room, and then we had some guy that stood up and started singing R. Kelly. I don't see nothing wrong with some bump and grind. Negro, we are at a faith-based competition. If you don't sat down, not sit, sat in the past tense. Anyway, so what made you decide? Yeah, it was 1,000 years ago, but it was a problem, honey. Cool. I said I was good with it. I'm done. I don't need to ever do that again. What made you decide to audition?
Funny story. So when I was younger, I always, because growing up in a small town, any kind of competition that challenged people who sang the gospel to go against each other was frowned upon. So I was like, I ain't doing that. And as I got older, one of my good friend, my best friend, he said, Emorja, you said try it out. And I was like, nah. So I said, you know what? I said, okay, I'm gonna take the chance. And the only reason why I did it is because I told myself that I need to start doing things that I'm fearful of and start doing it to make myself, at least to sort of see how I can navigate between those murky waters of fear and then opportunity.
Wow.
So I took the chance. I said, okay. So I remember I got to Detroit. Really, I got the call like that week, that Tuesday, and we had to go to Detroit like that Saturday. And of course, I was panicking. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I get to Detroit, do the audition. I sing, and then, they have me go outside and they bring me back in and say, Emorja, we want to move to the next round. So I did that. Then I eventually got the call to go to Atlanta, and I was like, whoa.
That's a big deal. Like, people don't get, it's a big deal. Because people don't understand there are literally callbacks that happen even before they say you can go to the next round. So there's multiple that happen during the day. That's a big deal. Yeah. Exactly.
And the funny thing is, so that was also approaching finals for me. I told my professor, I said, hey, I know this is really different. I said, but, I was accepted to go to this competition on TV. Would you give me your graces? He was like, yes. He said, that's why you're here. He said, you're here for this. He said, we'll worry about all of that later. He said, you just get where you got to go and, do what you need to do. So I said, well, cool. So, of course, I'm trying to pack all these clothes. I'm like, I don't know what to pick. Should I do red? Should I do blue? Should I do pink, purple? I don't know. So then I end up getting all my stuff together, and I was like, okay. So I take the chance once again, and I go. I get there, and of course, it's very fast-paced. You got to move whenever they say move. And the experience was great. Although it was like we were there for a week, and they did so many tapings and so much of everything. So we did all of that. Met some awesome people. But I remember when I got on the stage, whenever I got the song, I was like, okay, it's fill time for my worship. And went out there for the rehearsal, and I was like, I said, the song is cool. I said, but it just feels funny. I just didn't feel comfortable. I thought we were going to have an option for doing 2 songs, but we did that one. I did that one, excuse me. So anyway, so I remember after I finished doing that, I called my friend. I said, something doesn't feel right. I said, but I'm going to keep working on it. I'm going to keep practicing it just so I can get comfortable. As time got closer, I didn't get as comfortable as I wanted to. I kept changing keys, trying to see where the best place would be in regards to resonance and so forth and so forth. So I remember getting up there. Of course, this was the recorded part. I got up there, and I promise you, I was walking in a puddle of my own water. It was just, I said, but I'm going to go out there and do it. So I did it, and of course, although it wasn't a song that I would typically sing, what I took from that moment was that it was an opportunity for me to do something that I was always fearful of, not just for the people who were in the room, but because it was a television show that was everywhere. But what I also wanted it to represent was a Black man from a small town who was doing something for his people, as an example, that we don't only make it just by sports. We also make it in education. We also make it in music. And those are 2 things that I never want us to lose sight of. Because like I made a post on Facebook one day, and I said, sports isn't the only way we make it out the hood.
That's right.
Because that's just not true. So I did that for my fear. I did that for my community, but I also did that because to show for people who are in education, because sometimes in education, we sometimes think that's all, but no, there are so many other components that also make us who we are. And I want to give people a different light. That gospel is not every gospel artist. I'll just say this, every gospel artist has a different sound. Not everybody squalls. Not everybody sings high. Some people sing low. But I wanted to create some kind of space where people with lower voices could be appreciated. That's what my particular purpose was.
But also the fact that, you know, you're classically trained as well. And there's something really special about a singer that can stand flat-footed and can just sing. And I think it's so important for us. It's always been important, but I think it's so important that we begin to create spaces for people who don't sound like everybody else.
Exactly.
And it's okay that you can be chocolate and you don't sound like everybody else. That doesn't mean that you can't sing. You just have a different sound.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. So what has life been like, you know, since you have been off the show? Because you've been exploding. So what has life been like since then?
So now that I'm, of course, here in Notre Dame, so I've been focusing on continuing to bridge the gap between the communities, because I find myself in some weird positions like, you know, am I too white for my Black community? Am I not Black enough for the white community? Like, what do I do? And what someone told me last week, he said, Emorja, I was in the same position when I was, you know, going through my doctoral process. And he said, someone told me that you are the bridge between the two. You are there for them to create spaces where everybody can be together. And so I started doing more of that. What I've done so far, like I had the first Black History Month concert, February 2019. I brought in Callie Day, I brought in Isaac Cates, I had jazz, I had some other stuff as well, like a dance group here. So I did that. Then I recorded my first music video, which is Seek Ye First. I did that last year, and then I did He'll Be With You recently. And with all of those things that I do, is always going to have a form of inclusion. Whites, Hispanics, all of these Blacks, all of these cultures need to learn, because I will say what we do in gospel, also in the Black culture period, we are very influential. People want to be like us. People love the sound that we can give that just comes out naturally. And so because they desire that, to be in that space, I want to give them the opportunity to learn and also to participate. Now, will they be able to do everything that we do? Not at all. But don't treat them the way that we've been treated. I don't always want to ostracize people and keep them separate because of that's how we were, you know, growing up. But no, I'm going to show you what it's like to be included. I'm going to show you what it's like for you to learn from us.
And, you know, for example, with He'll Be With You, the video, it's so beautiful to see. Not only do you have an eclectic group in terms of race, but even different ages are there. What a beautiful, it is such a beautiful scene to watch. And I applaud you on doing that. Have you received pushback from anywhere about what it is that you're doing?
Oh, no, not at all. If anything, there are people who are very appreciative of it. I will say that. I won't say it's a pushback, but one thing that I always want to do is keep it as authentic as possible. I never want to water down our experience for the comfort of another culture. So you want to get the hard experience. So, and that's what I always want to give. I always want to bring that experience into the space. So, no, so far, like I did something with Notre Dame yesterday, you know, they highlighted it and they were very proud of it. I'm trying to get this song out because it's funny how it happened. I wrote this when I went to Africa last year with the Notre Dame Folk Choir. And the song is based off of Luke 20, chapter 24, 13 through 35, The Road to Emmaus. And so it was used as a pilgrimage, a song for our pilgrimage. So I decided to make the recording. I said January, I wanted to do the recording in March. And I did that, and it happened right before the whole pandemic began. And it's just so ironic how things sort of lined up. And this is my response to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And like right now with the song, I want to just share this message with everybody because it's so necessary. And of course we have bad news, we have good news, we have, you know, survivals, we have deaths, and it's a lot to juggle. But if there's anything that we should take away just from this pandemic, even if we may lose the most precious thing to us, still remind yourself, remember that you're never alone, which is, of course, the subtitle of the song.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song, and it's amazing how when we line up with God, he'll have us doing things and we don't even realize why. And so the fact that was recorded was recorded a couple months ago, that you wrote it, months ago, it's like, who would have thought that it would be necessary for right now, but absolutely necessary. I know that we have folks that are either tuned into the show or they're watching us live and they're wanting to know, can they bring you in to work with their choirs? Can they bring you in to work with their group? How can people connect with you? Whether it's through social media, offline, how can people connect with you to bring you in for their own Emorja experience?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Anywhere. You can go to my website, emorjaroberson.com. You can always fill out the information there. You can always connect with me on Instagram, Emorja Roberson. You can connect with me on Facebook, Emorja Roberson. You can connect
Good
with
marketing.
me on YouTube, Emorja Roberson's consistency. So you can always find me somewhere. But yeah, I would love to work with you because one of the things I always promote is vocal health, especially in the Black church.
Mm.
Yeah.
You could say that probably 1,000 more times, you know, because people are trying to squall, and it's like there's an art to it so that you don't tear your vocal cords up.
Exactly.
I don't even try to do it because
no, it's not even in my. It's not in me.
It's just not gonna work. My voice is too thin to try to do it. I mean, if I could, I would probably just squall all day, like at my kids, like sit down. Like I would just do it, you know, for no reason. Like they'd be like, "Mom, what is it?" You know. But yes, I don't even try to do it. How can people find the song so that they can download the song and support your ministry?
Oh, certainly. The song is everywhere. It's on iTunes. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Tidal. It's everywhere. And of course, you know, I have that music video. Then I also have Seek Ye First, which is from my second music project, the Evening Musicale. So yeah, feel free to check it out, share it, tag me in it, because I would love to see how it's blessing you and also the people that's in your community as well.
Well, we're getting ready to spin He'll Be With You right now. Listen, folks, you heard it right here. Emorja Roberson. Y'all got to stay connected to this brother. He's smart. He knows his business, and he loves God. Like, my God, what a great combination. Oh, before we go, I saw on your social media that you've been asking for people to collaborate with you. How can people do that?
Oh, yeah, certainly. You can always send me like a video of you singing, and then I'll sort of play around with it and I'll put on my page. Or if it's just good, I mean, just by itself, I'll just post on my page. Like either way, I would love to hear what people have, because there are so many artists out there, of course, and singers that I just don't know of. So this will be a way for us to connect and for us to share some music together. Are you wanting them to sing He'll Be With You or Seek Ye First or just anything? Interesting.
We should have them doing He'll Be With You.
Yeah, He'll Be With You is what I'm sort of focusing on now. But if they may have a choir they want to put together in the future, sing Seek Ye First, go for it. Like that would be hot too. Oh, yes. Okay. I thought you were going to say their own songs. I was going to say, no, Auntie Mika is telling them they got to sing one of your songs. Yes. I'm everybody's auntie. So they got to sing one of your songs. So, okay. Well, good stuff. Listen, folks, we're getting ready to cut to He'll Be With You. Make sure you connect with Emorja Roberson. Go to emorjaroberson.com. or you can find him everywhere. Yes. Until next time, it's your girl, Tamika Hall. Remember, I love you. You were created to make God famous. This is the Tamika Hall Radio Show.